So welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you an overview on how to mod the Royal KLUDGE RK61 keyboard. This is my Royal KLUDGE. So this keyboard has red switches as far as I can remember. Yeah, I'm sure that this is red switch. Hold on, let me see that. So I am going to show you how to practically disassemble this keyboard, and just an overview. I'm not going to disassemble this whole keyboard and desolder all the switch. I'm just going to show you the overview on how to mod this keyboard. So first, you need to take off 4 screws here and here. Let me get my trusty screwdriver set. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. So when disassembling this keyboard, you have to take note of the battery, because this keyboard has a Bluetooth module that allows the user to connect the keyboard to 3 different devices separately, of course. So be careful. You'll see that the battery comes off. So this is usually stuck back around, where is it? Here, around here. This is stuck here, like that. Mine is just loose, so I'm gonna take that off and gently pry this thing, or pull it rather, to disconnect the battery, like that. So of course, in disassembling this keyboard, you need to take off the keycaps one by one. And the next thing to do when modding this keyboard, the topmost thing to do when modding this keyboard is lubing the switches. So in lubing the switches, you need to desolder the pins, the switches off the PCB. So in each switch there are 2 pins, so you need to desolder this and this pin in order to pop the switch out. So in desoldering switches, this is the tools that you need. A soldering iron, I recommend a soldering iron that has a temperature control in it, so you don't have to damage, you can't damage the board when soldering in a high temperature, or rather too high of a temperature. And you need a solder sucker. So my solder sucker is actually bad, since the suction is quite weak. I'll let you hear this. And lastly, you need some solder. So the first thing you need to do when desoldering switches is to heat the pin until it melts, like that, and get the solder sucker prime it, and then do this technique where the soldering iron is touching the pin and the pad, and put the tip of the solder sucker on top of the pin without moving the soldering iron. Release the soldering pump, the soldering pump rather, and that's how you desolder the switches. So you need to do that 61 switches. You need to do that about 122 times to remove all the switches. So once you've desoldered all the switches, you need to just get a flat screwdriver and just pry the switch up and it'll pop out, assuming that you've desoldered the switch cleanly. So you need to be careful of that, because when desoldering switches, you need to get all the solder out, because when you don't get the solder out, the pins will get stuck. But you just have to observe and double check the switches so you won't damage the board like I did. So it's my first time modding a keyboard and desoldering a keyboard, so I actually broke the tab and caps lock key. I ripped the pads out, so when you accidentally rip the pads and the key doesn't work, let me know in the comments section below, so I'll teach you how to fix the key that has been broken. Or if you think that you broke the switch, you can just use a multimeter to test the continuity of the switch. If it makes connection, then the multimeter will beep. So that's how I narrowed down the problem to these two keys that has a problem on the PCB. So that's how you actually mod. So if you want to see me change the switches of my Royal Kludge RK61 into, I'm planning between Holy Pandas and Gateron Milky Yellows, just comment down below. So comment down below if you want to see me switch or change the switches of this keyboard. I'll show you the whole process of removing the keycaps, changing the switches, lubing the switches, modding the stabilizers, and like the Band-Aid mod, and lubing the stabilizers as well. So if you want to see more keyboard videos and other tech videos, I can just comment down below and I'll check it out if I could do it. So like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.